Marketer of the Day, episode 581. Passion plus commitment equals success. Love what you do. Practice gratitude. Challenge yourself and win with Elysia Stobbe.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're chatting with Elysia Stobbe, and Elysia, she does all kinds of crazy things. She is an expert in you and your mortgage. She has a proven track record as a successful business coach. And back when there was all the crazy mortgage crisis, economic downturn, Elysia not only survived, but thrived during all that through diligence and great service to her clients. So we're going to hear all about what Elysia has going on, and more importantly, what Elysia has to tell you to help you out when it comes to real estate, your mortgage, your business, whatever comes up. So Elysia, glad to be talking to you.
Thanks so much for having me on, Robert.
Heck yeah, glad to do it. So what is your current focus? What do you think as far as, everything in the world seems to happen super fast? What do us business owners need to know about these days?
So I think one of the things that's everybody needs to be aware of is just how fast technology is changing. And the operating curve for that is doing nothing but increasing. I mean, if you look at where jobs are headed, you take a simple, business like truck driving business. They expect those jobs and positions to be completely automated in the next 5 to 8 years. So if that's your career, you're not going to have one anymore. And that, I don't think that, that's the majority of your audience. But if you have small business owners, it's really anticipating what's going to be the next hot thing and what you will need versus what you won't need to operate your business and how you can satisfy that need for your future consumers.
Right. And I mean, you never know. There might be someone listening who has some sort of a 9-to-5 job that they hate in an industry that is dying now or will be dying eventually, and they need to get ahead of the curve and be more proactive and not wait until their job disappears and not wait until their industry disappears and then hop on some of these hot trends that you're seeing. So technology is changing, but what does that mean exactly in practical terms?
Well, it really depends on how you anticipate it and how you can apply it, right? Because the biggest money makers got ahead of a curve, basically. So, I mean, if you have people that are listening that are into technology, for example, I mean, they've been talking about how, probably for the last 5 years that your smartphone would be able to take your temperature and give you a complete doctor's checkup just from your house by putting your finger on your smartphone. And that's here. I mean, they can take your temperature, your heartbeat. It's amazing. So it just matters, what is your field and what can you see? And even more importantly, what do you not see that's coming around the curve that either could put you out of business or it could help you leapfrog, ahead of everybody else by leaps and bounds.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of these new crazy things that happen, it's like there's the period of time when the world's not quite ready for things. Like I'm thinking about that first generation iWatch where people were kind of like, well, what's really the point? But now with the connected devices and the medical stuff, it makes a lot of sense. And nowadays we have things like Uber and smart homes. So it seems like there's that period of time when there's the kind of silly, useless phase where we can maybe take note of that and say, okay, well, I see where this is headed. In a couple of years, this will make sense. And then you see maybe it being proven in one area and then it applies somewhere else, right? Like Uber, it really has caught on. And then a lot of these with insurance or with doctors or things like that, it's kind of applying that Uber mentality is I just push a button and it's done. It seems like sometimes we just have to be aware of these things that are coming up. And so is this sort of what you help to do? When you coach businesses, I mean, what's your magic? What's your secret sauce as far as you helping out businesses get where they need to go?
Well, I call the Stobbe secret sauce, passion and commitment equals success. So you really have to you have to love what you do. And if you don't, like, when are you going to change your mind and change your habits and change your behavior to do something that you really do love? Because the amazing thing now, you bring up Uber, which is a great, and Lyft, which are great examples. They're the largest cab companies on the planet. They own no cabs. Airbnb is the largest hotel company on the planet. They don't own any hotels. So the old mentality of thinking that you really have to own the asset is gone. It's just amazing, all the opportunities. So what I do with businesses is try and find out what they really want to do. Like, when you wake up, if you could design your ideal day, what does that look like? Do you go to an office? Do you walk on the beach? Do you want to do all your phone calls outside on your deck on the ocean, or on a lake, or on the top of a mountain? So I try to work with businesses to find out what really lights them up, and really what they, how they could see that, breaking down on a daily basis. So for me, I love people. So I need a little bit of face-to-face interaction every day. I like a lot of phone interaction, where I can connect with people and relate to people and understand people. And I really like to help and serve people. That's what makes me the happiest. So being able to work with the business to help them grow and be able to achieve what they really want to do, so they can have the money and the freedom to enjoy a lifestyle that they've designed. I mean, so many people get stuck in a rut of, this is what I do every day. And they really don't even take the time to think about, is that what I really want to do every day? And there's, of course, a huge fear. It's easy to do the same thing you've done year after decade. And it's not easy to change. Change isn't easy, but it's inevitable. And that's the thing, just to link it back to the technology conversation, that change is coming, and either you're on board or you're not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're so right on all counts that we need to keep up with the pace, if not more, and that we need to maybe change things up. And we're probably doing a lot of silly things in our personal lives and our business that we've just been doing just because that's the way that it's been done this whole time. And, as you're kind of explaining, like what you do and you help these businesses figure out their ideal day, I mean, for some irrational reason, that seems a little scary to think, like, okay, what if I started my day on the beach, or what if I subtracted these different things from my life? And I mean, you mentioned things like, Airbnb owns no real estate, Uber doesn't own any of their cars. I mean, even to get it to the technology sort of thing, it blew my mind when I found out that Netflix just uses Amazon's servers. Like there's Amazon will host all your stuff, and Netflix uses the same Amazon service that we all have access to. They just figured out a way to use it right there. And so yeah, I'm right there with you as far as we need to rethink all these things. And it sounds like you kind of have it all figured out, or at least for the most extent, right? Where you know that you want to be social and chat on the phone, but was it always this way, or did you kind of go through a real rough patch where you had to figure things out and figure out who you are?
That's a great question. It's always darkest before the dawn, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I went through, an extensive process of figuring out. I was financially savvy and financially secure, but I was waking up every day stressed out and not enjoying what I did every day. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I had a sizable mortgage business at the time. And I just thought, okay, what do I love about this? I love connecting with buyers. I love connecting with realtors. I enjoy long-term relationships, and I love meeting new people. I love helping people. I love helping people figure out how to save money on their, mortgage insurance, or their interest rate, or their closing cost. I love being able to help clients figure out, what's your cash flow and how many investment properties do you need to retire. So that piece I loved. And the piece that I really didn't enjoy was the paperwork, which is obviously required in the mortgage industry and not going anywhere. So I built a team around me that was excellent and is excellent. Still, so we still originate mortgages. So a team that's excellent at reviewing the paperwork, finding out what's needed, what's missing, and then I get to really leverage and enjoy my true gifts, which are connecting with people and figuring out how to save them money. So it took me a long time to do that. And there's been actually we're probably on like the third, I call it, I blow everything up and start all over again, right? You go back to your baseline, but each time you do that, your baseline has increased exponentially as far as what you know, how to execute, how to leverage. So, it was definitely a challenge, and a 1 year process, and then another 1 year process, and another 1 year process. And, right now, so now I'm thrilled. I get to do what I love to do, and, that make people happy. And when they save money and, they can retire, that's awesome. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and it sounds like your number one motivating factor is to make a difference and to help other people out. It's one thing to say, well, I'm motivated by, closing these real estate deals or making this money, but you're taking it all the way to the end point and saying, I'm helping people out, I'm changing people's lives. And what I'm hearing from your answers here is that, well, we're going to have those multi-year cycles, right? We're going to have those sometimes every 2 or 3 years or 5 to 10 years when everything blows up in our face. And that's only going to continue as things get disrupted. And the alternative is to be like someone in the taxi industry, just barely hanging on and trying to make it work. And that doesn't sound like fun at all. It sounds like more of an adventure to embrace these cycles. And then also what I'm hearing from you is that it just sounds like from your thought process that you're really good at breaking things down into the attributes. Like you say, well, I'm looking to help people get their cash flow or figure out at what point they need to get to retirement. And it sounds like you really enjoy solving of the problems, and then you recognize that, and then you said, okay, I enjoy this, but then what I don't enjoy are these things like the paperwork. So then you're going to delegate to employees, you're going to team up to people who enjoy that sort of thing. That way everybody wins, right? That way you know what you want, you're not trying to force something to work that's not fun for you, and then someone else who enjoys that part of the thing, you kind of bring them on board. So do you have any advice, or do you think that you do anything special and different as far as staying motivated and disciplined, taking action, that sort of thing?
Sure. I'm a big believer that, your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your reality. So if you have even just a morning discipline, so myself, I live at the beach, so I walk on the beach, the ocean, every morning. I'm a big believer in, fresh air, fresh salt air, getting in the water. So I do that every morning. I meditate for at least 15 minutes every morning. I do some sort of exercise. So whether that's walking, cycling, going to the gym, dancing just makes you feel great. I mean, it's not only a great physical activity, but it makes you smile. Like, it gets those endorphins going. And I believe if you have a discipline every day of, that kind of structure, and daily gratitude is so important. I mean, I wake up and I just think all the amazing things I'm grateful for, the way the sun feels on my face, the beautiful weather, all the family and friends that I'm connected to, that I love and adore, and, that comes back to me, and all the people I try to help. So I feel like, and the other thing too, is if you can just break things down for people and make it simple. I mean, for example, they don't teach budgeting and how to balance your checkbook in high school. So it's not, and a lot of entrepreneurs bootstrap things, which is awesome, because thank goodness, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are in our society today, with all the people who are ingenious and motivated to make their own difference and bring their own products, to market. So I think a lot of times, just simple math. I mean, there's so many people that, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck. And if you don't even know, how much you need every month and how much you need to save, it's impossible to retire, because you're just on that treadmill, which is what everybody's been, unfortunately, conditioned to. And unless you're going to step outside of that box and think differently, and actually it's not that difficult to do if, you go through step-by-step processes. So it can definitely be done.
Yeah, I'm right there with you that sometimes we just need that little bit of untangling and looking at the bigger picture, not just living day to day and saying, okay, well, having no plan, having no goals, just kind of taking it as I'm doing it has gotten me to this point. Maybe I need to look at the big picture and break things down and simplify, and then that'll get me on a new path instead of just reliving this same cycle over and over again. And then what you said right there about keep making it simple, simplifying things. I mean, that's huge for a number of reasons. And I say that because it seems like in almost like any industry that we're in, people don't make things simple. It's easier to make, or it's there's a tendency to make things more complicated. So if we can figure out whether that's the app we're making or a service or a book or whatever it is, just to remove the noise and to just make it into a few simple steps, it seems like that's kind of a tough mental roadblock for some of us to overcome. When I say, well, I'm so smart, I know all these things, I want to teach all these crazy things, and it's like, yeah, but are people actually looking for that? Maybe there's looking for things to be simple there. And I mean, speaking of simplicity, like you said, that morning discipline, that morning routine, it's easy for a lot of people to say, oh yeah, I've heard of that, I've heard that I should meditate and exercise and make that gratitude list, but it seems like people only do part of it, or they don't actually take that sort of thing seriously. And sometimes I'm guilty of that falling to the wayside, and when it does, then the life sort of isn't as good. And then when I remember to do some of those simple things that you mentioned, then things pick back up. And so, we've mentioned that you back in the day you were stressed out, overloaded, and then now you've changed things up and made them way better. Do you ever feel like you have some of those weeks or months when things are slowing down or stagnating, or has it just always been great ever since you made these changes?
Well, I think it's a constant, up and down. So no, by all means, nothing's perfect all the time. And if it was, we would never appreciate it, because that would be the baseline. And so I think when you have those ebbs and flows and those dips, it makes you appreciate even more what you really do have, and then what you want to strive for. So I think, I set new goals on a quarterly basis and annual basis, and break them down into how I'm going to accomplish them. And then really when I do the gratitude, that piece also lets me focus. So I get in a super positive, grateful state, and I focus on health, which is super important, but then also what I want to accomplish. And I know I have a big, huge list of things this summer that I want to take care of, that I've been working on diligently. And sometimes that's a shift in itself, right? Because instead of looking at it like work, if I really like this, well, then I'm playing. It just happens to be that piece makes me some money, or I can help some people with this particular piece. So even with rental property that I own, I want it to be in the best shape possible for those tenants. So it's not just about having cash flow real estate. It's about really how can I, help make a better community as well. So, the more we challenge ourselves, the more I think, not only are you blessed, but you grow. And there's that old adage, if you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're just doing the status quo, not only you're going to get bored, but, it's like if you don't go to the gym and work out, your muscles will atrophy. The same things with your goals, your mind. It's all it all works together.
Yeah, I completely agree that, yeah, if you're not growing, you're dying, and we need to challenge ourselves and tap into maybe the right amount of that ambition and that workaholic behavior, that way we can be our best selves. And so you said that you have these quarterly and annual goals and you're working through them diligently. So do you ever have any trouble figuring out the right size goals? And I just ask that because sometimes it seems like it's easy to maybe sell ourselves short and set the goals to be too simple, and then we finish them and it's like, what now? Or we make this huge laundry list of things and then say, well, I've only checked off 2 of them this quarter. Now I'm really hard on myself. So do you have any thoughts on that, or can you speak to that a little bit as far as setting the right goals for ourselves?
Sure. I think your goals should actually be diverse, and they should not only be focused on business or not only focused on health. I think you need a variety of goals. I mean, say, for example, if you're shy and you don't like speaking in public, like that's a great goal to get over, to break through that challenge and that ceiling, because it'll serve you other places. It'll serve you with your self-esteem. It'll serve you with your business. It'll serve you, in social circles. So I like to have different categories. So I actually have categories broken down for my goals for each of my businesses. And then I have a spiritual goal, and that could be, go meditate with monks. It could be. And I don't hit all of them all the time. But you also want to make small stepping stones along the way so that you can actually reward yourself and be happy. So say I did want to go, and have a spiritual journey and go to India. One of the smaller things I could do along the way, for example, would be to go to, a blessing or maybe do some laughter yoga, on a weekly or monthly basis until I have time, or I have the, really for me, it's time because I have so many awesome things I get to do. But for some people, it could be financial. So reward yourself with those little steps that you can actually enjoy and make them in bite-sized pieces, working towards the bigger goal. And that goes with, finances and business as well. I think, health is the same thing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you that having those little rewards, that sometimes it's easy to overplan or to make the scope of something too big before you even started, right? And to say, well, I'm going to run 5 miles a day, or I'm going to get 10 rental properties. And it's like, well, what if you just dialed it back and just did that one little first step? Then you would get more accomplished with that first step than making 0 steps because you overloaded yourself. And then when you saw that you made some progress, or you saw how easy that is, then you can get that encouragement to keep going. So now I'm curious about what sort of things that you've built here, because I know that you have the real estate properties, and you've built these businesses, and you have your book. So can you kind of fill us in on just what kind of sort of amazing, impressive things you've been able to accomplish these last few years?
Oh, I just so much. I've been able to it's amazing. I love to travel, and I love to meet people and explore and learn new things. So just all kinds of things. Goodness, probably in the last 6 weeks, I've been to Las Vegas to shoot some video. I was in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County wine tasting. I was in Philadelphia for a business meeting for a couple of days, been interviewed by Forbes, U.S. News and World Report, just so many different things. And I love the real estate. I mean, I actually, and that to me goes back to the play, not work. I love evaluating real estate deals. I just think it's super enjoyable. So I'm always trying to figure out if, the numbers work to add to the real estate portfolio. And then I have a few other side businesses as well. And then, there's so many interesting business opportunities now. There's actually a lot of kind of real estate share investments, sort of like traditional REITs, but kind of with like an Airbnb spin. So I've been looking at some of those opportunities, and started a different workout regime. So that's been interesting. And then I like to bike ride a lot. So I got a really fun beach cruiser with these huge knobby tires. So I take that out, and I got some paddle boards. So I've been doing that. And I've been scuba diving for years. So wherever I get to go there. Yeah, all lots of fun stuff.
Geez, well, it sounds like you're doing everything, right? Traveling everywhere, doing all the hobbies, and it also sounds like you're remaining curious and learning about new things, like learning about all the cutting edge things in real estate. And so it sounds like you found the time for what's important. So if there's someone out there who says, well, I can't find the time during the day. I already have so much going on with like the day job and the side hustle and the kids and the obligations. If someone said that to you, just that they don't have enough time in the day, what would you say to that?
Well, it's interesting because that's a great question. So I'll give you an answer. Then also I prepared some money saving tips for your entrepreneur audience. So yeah, as far as the time thing goes, it really is, there's so many hours in the day, and the most important thing is to be able to enjoy those hours. So again, if you're not doing something you love, stop immediately and figure out what you want to do. So, the book, I've always been a hard worker and overachiever, and my book, I don't sugarcoat it. I didn't have a ghostwriter. I did it myself. And while I was working full time, it took me 2.5 years, nights and weekends to write that. So that's time that I'll never get back. But it wasn't like I did that to have a sales piece for the mortgage business. Honestly, that was my initial thought. And then I had to shift into the serving mentality. And once I did that, and I realized through years that an educated consumer became our best client. And when my focus was truly to serve, that's how I got the motivation to spend all that time working on the book. And thank goodness people have been receptive, and it's been a #1 bestseller. I mean, it's still like a top 5 right now. We're in, we just passed the 3rd year. So that's amazing. And I feel like, again, it obviously was a lot of hard work, but when you make that shift in your mind, it doesn't become work. It becomes truly a labor of love. And when you can do that, then you have something to leverage. So I think that's the other part of it. When you do have to put in, there really is no easy street to becoming financially free. It is hard work. But you need the tools, and you definitely need the motivation to make that happen. I mean, right now, actually, I'm launching another business. I'm looking for just a few select loan officers to launch my coaching program and put them in the pilot. So that's going to be a lot of hard work up front. And then, once all the systems are tweaked and my clients, my loan officers are getting great results, then we'll leverage that. But again, there's hard work that goes in first. But again, if you enjoy what you're doing, it's all fine. I mean, I could stop working tomorrow, but I would be bored out of my mind, because even though I love the beach, there's only so many, there's only so many times you can go up and down, up and down.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's a good mind space to be in. And just the common thread I'm hearing from our conversation is that the hard work is necessary, but we need to figure out a way for the work to not feel like work, for it to feel fun, and we need to have that reason why and have those big visions and goals, and not just be hoping that we'll make the money, and money can't be the only motivator. All the other fun stuff that life has to offer needs to be the motivator. So we're at a great conversation here today, and I'm sure that a lot of people are asking, well, how can I find out more about Elysia, about her websites, her courses, her books? And you also mentioned that you have that resource of those money-saving tips. So can you plug some URLs for us today?
Sure. Yep. I'll give you the 5 tips real quick. The best way to find me online is LinkedIn right now. So it's just ELYSIA, Elysia Stobbe, STOBBE. You can also, there's so many different videos I've contributed to. And so, but LinkedIn is a great place to find me right now, as well as Twitter. I'm online at Twitter. But I'll give you the 5 real quick, Robert. So money saving techniques for entrepreneurs. Number 1, pay yourself. Don't put all your money back in your business. Number 2, make sure you have cash reserves. Number 3, make sure you have access to lines of credit at low interest rates before you need the credit. And this is huge because right now there's a lot of money available for businesses to grow. So unlike maybe 5 years ago, where that wasn't the case, right now, I mean, I get robocalls with people offering, money for my on my business to my businesses all the time. Number 4, set up an individual retirement account. A SEP IRA is a simplified employee pension plan, and that's great for entrepreneurs, small business owners, any business owner with 1 or more employees, or even with freelance income can usually open up a SEP IRA. And then number 5, make sure you have your exit strategy in mind. A lot of people build this great business, but then they don't have anything after that. They don't have a plan on how they're going to execute it and go to the next thing or exit that, or assume they're going to leave it to their kids. And if you build it with the exit strategy in mind, it gives you the best way that you can leverage that, so you can actually set up your business the way, just like I was talking about your life. You can actually set up your business and your life the way you want to, not somebody else thinks you have to.
Right. I love it. Yeah. And especially because that's the future, right? The past, the way things worked in the past is you get some job at the gas station or the convenience store and you work for 40 years and hope it works out. But nowadays we have to think on our feet a little bit, but that can be a blessing in disguise, right? Because that can mean that you can become a country or a world traveler like yourself. You can build this business, you can do remote working, have remote employees, make an app, make a website, all kinds of fun stuff. So to recap those 5 money saving tips for entrepreneurs, you said number 1, pay yourself. Number 2, have those cash reserves. Number 3, have access to lines of credit before you need the credit. Number 4, get something like a SEP IRA. And then number 5, have that exit strategy so that you're not building yourself a second job. So LinkedIn, Elysia Stobbe is Elysia Stobbe. And then if people are curious about your book, which some people might be, right? Because they might be entrepreneurs, have this extra income. Maybe they want to do some of this real estate stuff on the side, or they want to buy their own home instead of renting. Can you tell us where we can find your book also?
Sure. The website for that is ElysiaStobbeBooks.com. So ElysiaStobbeBooks.com. And you can also search my name on Amazon and it should come right up.
Super cool. So ElysiaStobbeBooks.com and search Elysia Stobbe on Amazon. So anything else to add here before we wrap things up?
I think the biggest thing is to just thank you for your time, and I'm grateful that you have me on the show. And I think the more we all practice daily gratitude, the happier place the world will be.
Fantastic. Good reminder. Got to have that daily gratitude. So thanks so much, Elysia, for stopping by and for maybe getting some of your work ethic, your personality, your enthusiasm to rub off on us. So I think that everyone out there has a kind of refreshed idea on their vision, their goals, the problems they're going to solve, the way they're going to challenge themselves. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Robert. Appreciate you.
If you're a future podcaster, new podcaster, existing podcaster, or you're looking to make more money with your podcast with less time, you owe it to yourself to check out doneforyoupodcasting.com. We handle any or all of your podcasting needs. Go to doneforyoupodcasting.com right now.